for my millions and my billions of fans, can you please introduce yourself? Who do I have?
Yeah, man, I'm Toussaint Lorenz.
Toussaint Lorenz.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So we're going to start off. How do you spell that?
TOUSSAINT LORENZ.
Okay, so I already have a typo on my notes. Let me go ahead and just add that extra S here. So what does that mean?
Toussaint is French. If you want to get real French about it, it's supposed to be pronounced Toussaint. And it means Toussaint, yes. It's All Saint in French. It means All Saint.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, my mom had a dream before I was born. She was thinking about having an abortion. And she had a dream that God came to her and talked her out of it, and all the saints rode up on horses on this cliff, and that's how she came up with my name.
Well, I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad you didn't.
It worked out.
Because who would I be interviewing for my millions and billions of fans then, you know?
Hopefully Kanye, bro.
I'm not ready for that shit, bro. I'm not ready. I have to keep it underground, you know?
I got you.
So is that... So that's your real name?
Yeah, that's my government.
So you go by your real name?
Yeah.
I don't think I've met anyone with that name at all.
It's not. You're only gonna probably find it in France. Obviously, it's actually a national holiday. So yeah, it's All Saints Day, and it's their version of the Day of the Dead. It's their like Dia de los Muertos.
Yeah.
And then Canada, like in the French Quarter, like in Quebec and Toronto, like kind of more towards the east, you find it. And then in Louisiana, it's like a pretty popular name, but it's usually like a last name. Is how you generally find it.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a very popular Creole name.
Huh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to go with your real name?
Well, I had stage names, so like
Toussaint?
Toussaint, yeah.
Toussaint.
When I did like street shit and dumb shit.
Yeah.
That was just like the nickname I had. That was the street name, and then I became Mr. Deuces for a minute. Mr. Deuces, yeah. And then one day I was like, yo, like, my name is mad unique. Like, most people are named like Brad or, you know what I mean, like
Stanley.
Brad exactly.
Stanley.
So yeah, they got two first names. I'm like, usually my name stands out when I tell people it, and as an artist, right, like you want your name to stand out and be something that people hear and they're like, oh, like that's unique. And I was like, I'm just gonna go by my name, like, and I gave it a shot, and that was really when I feel like people started to remember it and started to kind of. That was when like I would say it and people would be like, "Oh yeah, no, I've heard of you, right?" Not like Deuces, you know what I mean? Because there's like 35 Deuces rappers just in like Rhino over here.
Mr. Deuces sounds like a pimp or something.
He does. Like he sounds. Mr. Deuces, baby.
Well, yeah, okay. So that's what we got there. So. To fill people in, it's funny. I want to say I actually met this gentleman at a baseball field.
Yeah.
I was working at a breakfast place in Lafayette, and we had like a little team kickball thing we did every once in a while, and the girls were afraid, like, oh, someone's got the field. I think they're doing something, and so we waited and we played some basketball and chugged a couple beers. And I was like, well, let me just ask. Maybe they're just fucking around, you know?
Right.
So I jumped the fence because I was a little drunk. So I was like, I'm going to jump it. So I jumped the fence and I'm climbing up there. Jumped the fence and I walk up and it's this gentleman in front of me and his manager at the time. I don't know if you guys are still cool.
Yeah,
because so cool, good.
Sean,
Yeah. And you guys were like shooting drone and like thinking of ideas and stuff. And then we chopped it up. And that was like half a year ago. It was last summer. Right?
Was it summer?
It was warm out.
It was definitely warm.
It's warm a lot.
I feel like it was like probably August or September.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that half a year ago already?
I think half a year, man. It's been a while.
Dang. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were shooting a video. That video still hasn't released yet, actually. We shot the video that I dropped yesterday after we shot that video. That's how unreleased that video is.
That's super underground at that point.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was funny. I remember it because we were sitting there and, you hopped the fence, and I was like, oh shit, I think somebody's gonna come yell at us. But then I was like, hold up, like if this was somebody real official, why would they be hopping the fence? Like I feel like they would have walked around. So yeah, man, it was a chance meeting, bro. It was just a chance meeting that worked out. It's one of those things.
Seems like that happens a lot if you're moving and if like that's on your mind. So always trying to meet a new artist, and you know, I know people. Manifestation or whatever, materializing stuff. So it's kind of like an example of that.
I think, strong example of manifestation.
Made it happen and shit.
And you did one with Graybeard, yeah?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
I love Graybeard's my guy, man.
Yeah, man. Graybeard's really cool, man.
Yeah, he's cool peoples, bro. He's a great artist, fun dude, good energy all around. Man.
Yeah, he had some really funny stories that we didn't put on the podcast. I'm like, yo, you're tripping, man. It's cool to see that.
Yeah, implicate somebody.
It's itself. Mostly.
That's not good.
So before we get into some of my questions about your social media presence and your music and stuff like that, I like to try to go back before we go forward. And you know, I'm from Ohio, so it really helps me out and my listeners to not only hear the place you're from, but for you to try to draw somewhat of a picture of what that neighborhood looks like. Because people may think things are the same everywhere, and they might, you know, there's crime everywhere, there's rich people, there's poor people, there's whatever everywhere, but it looks different out here.
Yeah.
Compared to where I'm from the Midwest, you know what I mean?
It definitely, yeah. Well, and I guess I can't compare it to I haven't traveled a whole lot personally.
Me neither, man.
But I definitely, my mom's from Ohio actually. Yeah, that's funny. Out here, it's different now. Like, it's a whole different world from when I was like a kid. Yeah, man. Like it's like this area that we're in right now. You didn't want to be in this area at all. Shit, right? This was a bad place. Yeah, this is a bad place. Like you did not want to be out here. And so like I grew up kind of all over. I was born in 5 Points, now Rhino. Yeah. I grew up through downtown all the way to West Colfax. And like now, like when I say those areas now, people are like, well, that sounds pretty nice. Like West Colfax is like lovely. And Rhino's great. And it's like, at the time,
gentrified
like
now.
Yeah, like before gentrification and all that. So because my mom's white. So she was a white lady in 5 Points, which was like crazy. Like she was pregnant and white. I remember she told me this story. She's pregnant and white, walking down the street. Pregnant and white.
Oh my gosh.
Out here being pregnant and white, tripping. She's walking down the street and she passed a barber shop, man. And the head barber ran out and was like, "Yo, like, what are you doing out here? Like, are you okay? Like, do you know where you're at?" And she was like, "Fine. Yeah, I live over there." And he was like, "You live there?" Like, he was like, "I don't go there. Why do you live there?" Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's just such a different time. And so, like, growing up, seeing the way that things have changed, West Colfax with like, because I went to Colfax Elementary, so seeing the way that that whole area has changed, it's wild, man. The way that progression has happened.
Do you think it's a good thing?
It's pros and cons. You know what I mean? It's pros and cons. It's like, I would hope that with the changes that have been made, the neighborhoods are better and they're offering opportunities to the same kids and people that were living in them. But I understand that gentrification doesn't necessarily offer that. It more phases those groups of people out, marginalizes them, and then puts them in probably even worse places than they were. So it's one of those things where, like, aesthetically, like, it's beautiful to look at, and I love seeing that area look better. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's great. And hopefully crime and whatnot has gone down. At the same time, who got kicked out? Like, who got phased out? You got people. Yeah, you got people, they bought these houses at $30,000, $40,000, went through these terrible times in these neighborhoods. Their houses got shot up, their cars got stolen, the roughest times. And then some hipster real estate people came in and they were like, "Yeah, I like this. We're gonna fix this up and we're gonna put some strange looking couches over here." Yeah, like the whole market changed, and and people got money for their spots for sure, but it's like, well, where do they go? This is what they know, you know. This was the area, and the area is not even the same, and it's to the point that it's like, first they're shaking your hand, being like, hey, we can offer you this money, and then they're like trying to like, hey, why don't you like get the fuck out? Like, yeah, like, you know? Let's move it here, you know. So it's pros and cons. There's pros and cons to everything, you know. So it's there's that, and then I moved out to Boulder.
Yeah, that's where I lived when I first moved here.
Yeah, I went to middle school and high school in Boulder, and even that area has changed in many, many ways, I would say. It's
like
very,
the same way? Or...
Yeah, well, Boulder is one of those things, I have a very love-hate relationship with it. I love Boulder.
Boulder's like controversial out here, for real.
Yeah, I love Boulder because it's fun, you know, it's a party city.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's gorgeous. Like, it's at like
everywhere.
It's visually stunning. But like Boulder's got its. Can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I have already, but I guess I should have.
Fuck.
But Boulder's got its shit like everybody else, and once you start to get into the heart of that shit, you realize how much of a facade it all is. You know how much of
bubble.
it. Yeah, the Boulder bubble. How much of it is. You know, it's magic tricks. You know, there's a curtain there, and once you unveil it, you're like, oh, this is kind of fucked up. Like, there's some shit happening here, and I speak. I mean, I speak from a minority standpoint in Boulder, and if anybody who's been to Boulder understands, there's a certain atmosphere there, and
there's only so many coloreds out there, you know.
Yeah, there's not
unless you play sports for the team, for the college team.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And then, you know, when I was younger, it was even less. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I remember my middle school under because they do the census, and under African American, I think they put non-applicable because there just wasn't enough of us in there. You know
Big old NA on there.
Yeah, just like, yeah, well, you know. So it was, you know, growing up there.
Are you half black?
Yeah, I'm mixed. Well, I'm quarter, but I identify more with my minority self, which is a whole conversation.
You know how
itself.
I mean, you know how that goes. If you're a little black, then you're like black.
Yeah,
you know
that's what you run with because you don't
unless you look like Larry Nance.
Yeah,
or like Klay Thompson.
Yeah, exactly.
That shit,
but like I look Hispanic. Like everybody thinks I'm Mexican. Yeah, so I'm Portuguese, West African, French, and German.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My dad was from a small island off the coast of West Africa called Sao Tome.
Sao Tome.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Sao Tome and Principe. Their main exports were sugar in the 1500s and then slaves.
There you go.
Yeah, it was like the last stop that like slave traders would stop at before coming over here.
Atlantic slave trade or whatever that shit was called.
Yeah, so, you know, I definitely always kind of identified just with my minority side, and back then too, like I had, you know, big old afro and everything, so everybody would kind of be like, what are you? Because like by your hair you're not Mexican, but like by your features you're not anything that I can discern. It just got annoying to be like, well, I'm, you know, French, West African.
You ever start lying?
It was just like, you know, I'm black. Like I'm, you know, that's what I run with. That's what it was. So
you ever lie?
What's that?
You ever lie? People ask you that?
You know what? A lot of people always thought I was Samoan. So I think I ran with that a few times. Just
I mean, I guess if you told me that, I wouldn't be like, no way.
I'd be a small Samoan. You know what I mean? Like you'd be like, are you sure? Like,
yeah, I'm always thinking.
But back when I was like 15, you know what I mean? I was a big dude. People were like, yo, like, are you Samoan?
Yeah,
like,
you gotta be.
Yeah.
I tell people Hawaiian sometimes. They're like, yeah, I can see it with the and they like start bullshitting, you know. I'm like, yeah, you're right, bro. You know. You know Hawaii.
You know the waves,
you
bro.
Bum.
Mahalo.
So you moved around a lot.
Yeah.
Growing up.
47 times.
47 times. It's a lot. I moved around a lot too. So I feel that you could have been a new kid a lot. New place. You just gotta move, man. Moving.
You know.
You get your spots that you like. I don't know. When you're a kid, you know, you got your park or you got your hoops or whatever you like, and you gotta move. Then you gotta move. You gotta move. You know what I mean?
Well, and you get to the point where you don't even really like integrate. Like you just kind of like, what's the point?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're
just
like, I'm about
why?
to just.
I'm gonna move soon anyways. Like, what's the point? Actually, I had the benefit. I moved a lot, but I stayed. I did stay in like certain pockets of things. So like while we may have moved a lot in Denver, once we hit West Colfax, like I stayed at Colfax Elementary. I didn't move. I didn't move schools a whole lot. I was supposed to, actually. There was like a whole thing about that, but I was supposed to, but we didn't. And then same thing when we got to Boulder. It was like I moved around Boulder County a lot, but I always just kind of, I figured out which bus route I needed to catch to be able to go to the same spot. So I had that benefit, but as far as like integrating in the neighborhoods, because you go to certain neighborhoods and like everybody kind of grew up with each other. And, you know, that's Tony over there. He lives there. Yeah, so it was
inside jokes.
Yeah, as far as that goes, there wasn't a whole lot of like that level of integration.
I get that.
Yeah.
So, was it? I know we're grown now or whatever, and sometimes it's annoying going back. But was it anything crazy other than the moving? With because some people have like parents that don't get along, single parent, homes, or dealing with being broke or
all that. I mean, single parent. I didn't know my dad. Typical rap kid story. Single parent.
Typical mixed rap kid.
Yeah, typical mixed rap kid. That's even more marginalized. Grew up without a dad. Single mom. We struggled a lot. She was an artist, like a painter, when I was real young, and then she went hard, went to nursing school, became a nurse. That was when we moved to Boulder. Was when she finally like finished nursing school and got a good job. She was like, "I'm gonna make sure you get a good education." But even then, it was kind of like that Dave Chappelle joke where he talks about being like the poor kid around, like you're in a good neighborhood, but like you're the poorest one of all of them. So like it went from like me
think
being
you're all good, and it's like man.
like it's still like mac and cheese and hot dogs, or like I mean, I think one of the rawest concoctions I ever had was my mom made tuna fish and spaghetti once. That was all we had was spaghetti, and so it was bad. It's bad. Don't test it. Don't try to hipster it. Don't try to mix it. That shit tastes like poverty in a can, bro. It was bad.
We used to eat them, what was this, Vienna sausages sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Those are good, though.
Those are all right, man.
I like salty food. I'm like, that's not bad. I don't know why niggas making fun of me. This shit
good, it'll take you back.
Your Lunchables are trash, bro. This shit's good.
I'm popping the can, too.
Yeah, man. Shit's fresh.
So yeah, it was like it became that aesthetic. So I went from like being around a bunch of like poor kids to then I was like, which was cool because I could at least like blend in. And you know, like
everybody's
when you're with the group of poor kids and you get something nice, you get to kind of like flex it a little bit. Like, oh yeah, but I got the new Jinkos at the time, so I got the new Jinkos or whatever. But yeah, once I moved to Boulder, it was like, hold up, like I had a culture shock, man. I went through. Yeah, it was weird. It was super weird. Like people didn't handle. I grew up fighting, you know what I mean? So it was like that's how you handle stuff. Like somebody crossed you had a problem, and your kids, you know what I mean? You fight, but that was it. Like you fought, people went to timeout or whatever. They got in trouble or whatever, and that was it. And I remember when I got to Boulder and like somebody said something about my mom, and I got ready to throw hands, and they were like, "What are you doing?" You know what I mean? They were like, "You are so aggressive right now." Like all I did was like talk shit about your mom, and it was like, "I'll fucking cut you, dude." What are you talking about?
What do you mean? That's all you did.
But then it was like then I get told on. You come from certain neighborhoods, you don't tell on people. You know what I mean? You don't speak about that. But like I get told on, and then I'd be sitting there, I'm in trouble now, and I'm like, how am I? They talked shit about my mom, and I'm in the office because I reacted accordingly as far as I understood.
It was a early lesson for you, huh?
Yeah, so learning how to maneuver in that type of environment was, it took a lot of time, a lot of getting used to. I'm not even sure I fully learned how to do it, but I definitely, I got to a point where, I could figure a couple things out, but I definitely didn't figure it out till like high school. Yeah. It was like, middle school sucks for everybody, but that shit was just like, that shit was crazy, man. Middle school was like a rough, weird, introspective, dark time for sure.
Did you, were you already kind of trying to do music at that age, or were you doing like sports or skateboarding or just playing games or?
I did. I was big into video games. I played sports, but I didn't play for like. I was never good. I'm not a great team player. I was never good at the whole organized sports thing. I always wanted to be like the dude who hit the last basket, but I'd like force it. You know what I mean? Like I'd hold on to the ball and like wait and then shoot and then miss, and everybody'd be like, "What the fuck?" Yeah. So it was one of those things where I wasn't good at organized sports, so I'd play pickup, a lot of pickup basketball, pickup like football, just like schoolyard stuff, but never anything organized. Played a lot of video games. I didn't start, and like hung out with like the friends that I did make. You know what I mean? Like, you know, we go see movies and go to the mall and stuff like that. But I didn't start writing until I was 14, and because so another aspect of it, I got bullied a lot. You know what I mean? When I was younger. Yeah. You know, I was fighting a lot back then, but I lost a lot of the fights. You know what I mean? I got my ass whooped a lot. And so I got bullied a lot, and then I came out to Boulder, and then it was like I was this like weird, like aggressive, like, you know, minority kid who like came from this I had a white mom, which was weird to kids, and they'd like bring it up and shit. And so it was like it wasn't like they were bullying me necessarily at that point in time, but it was definitely like it had a strain on my mental health, because it was like everything I understood at that point in time just got flipped up, and I was confused. I felt probably like how Will Smith would have felt going to Bel Air, right? Like that that change of like, yo, what did I just land in? You know,
especially the new Will Smith.
Yeah, I heard it's good. I haven't seen it. I
just know Carlton does blow.
Oh my goodness, Carlton's out here doing
blow. New Carlton does blow.
New Carlton, 2022 Carlton would do blow for sure. I feel like.
You know, and which just doesn't make any sense because of all the fetty out here. You would think back in the 90s, the first French Prince was on.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the blow was probably a lot better then. So this new Carlton's way out of pocket.
Yeah, he's messing with the fentanyl blow, and that shit is too dangerous.
Should put you out.
Yeah.
For no reason. Bro. But yeah, culture shock, yes. Of course.
Mad culture shock. And so it had its own strains on my mental health, and just kind of like figuring out who I was, navigating everything that I knew, trying to figure out, well, what am I going to keep? What am I going to get rid of? And obviously I didn't even know those were the questions I could ask. Like now I know which questions I was asking and what I was going through, because I'm older now. And I can define it, but at that time I was like, everything is fucked. I don't know. Like I don't get it. Like
it's hard to ask your mom some questions when you're a boy, man. So it's like she's gonna answer she's gonna give you the mom answer.
Yeah,
which is good. Like
you're perfect
half
honey.
The time.
Yeah, like
oh
that's you're perfect. Don't worry about that. It's like nah, mom, that's not what I'm.
She'll like cry or some shit. It's just like what?
And then you feel awkward.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do about this? Like
like
why are you crying?
Yeah, my feelings made you sad. Now I don't want to even acknowledge that I have feelings. You know what I mean?
Because I gotta straighten up at this point.
Yeah.
So 14. So that's what I was getting at.
14.
So 14. Do you know why you wrote your first, bar or poem or something? Was there something that was like pissing you off, or like did you see some people rapping? You're like, I could do that.
No, I love music. Music's always been like hugely ingrained in my life. Like all music. Like, I grew up. My mom. I actually wasn't even allowed to listen to rap until like 2001. It was when the Eminem show came out. I heard "Sing for the Moment," and I was like, "This is all of my teenage angst wrapped up into a song." Like,
I get it.
I'm listening to this. You're not gonna tell me no, Mom. Yeah. So prior to that though, I grew up on like blues, like Aretha Franklin, like B.B. King, Nat King Cole, Natalie King Cole. I got into rock music, so like Sum 41, Rob Zombie, Blink 182, and then I
Yellow Card.
Yeah, Yellow Card, absolutely. And I graduated, into hip hop, or forced myself into hip hop, I guess. And
Eminem was your first.
Eminem. Well, because I'd always heard hip hop, but that was the first time that I was like, I'm gonna get this album, and like and then I became a huge M fan, and then I got into Ludacris, and then 50 came out, and G Unit, and Terror Squad,
the mixtape era.
And then it all went from there. But to answer the question, yeah, when I turned 14, I just like I was like I could do this. Like I could write. You know what I mean? I could write music, and I knew kids that rapped. You know, like they did their thing, and I was like, well, if they could do it, I could do it for sure. And there was this dude, this kid who went to the high school I went to. His name was um, Ben Miller. He went by Be Jammin'. And he like kind of took me under his wing and started showing me like how to formulate stuff, and we would battle. Like that was like my introduction. Was like, all right, I'm gonna learn how to battle, and he would like roast the shit out of me. I didn't know what I was doing. I was 14.
Well, you had to practice.
Yeah, and so I spent 3 months. I remember I took 3 months, and I just put songs on, and I just freestyle and walk around my house.
Yes,
all the time, and I came back, and I never beat him in a battle, but like I remember I came close, and he was like, "Oh, you've been practicing," and then it was like, "All right, this is what I'm gonna do." And then like me and my friends, we would sit on my front porch at the time at one of the places we lived at, and we would just put on a beat and freestyle for hours, bro. Like just throw on beats, little beat tapes that we would find. Like you go back in the day, you go to LimeWire and give your computer AIDS and. and
yeah, it was all about the J Arms.
Yeah.
Remember that? The J Arms instrumentals.
Yeah.
Like J Arms, and it'd be like a playing sound.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. I know you talking about hipstrumentals and shit. I remember that.
Yeah. So we used to just grab any instrumentals we could. Like everybody, like we go and like, oh, I got a new beat CD. You know what I mean? Pop it in. You know what I mean? Start freestyling to it or whatever. We were all trash, but it was fun.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It was good.
It was freestyle.
Get high on the front porch and freestyle, man. So that was how I really started to like deep dive into it. And then like 18 was when I graduated high school was when I got serious about trying to do something.
Were you recording any songs between the age of 14 and 18, or was it just a freestyle and having a little bit of fun?
No,
pretty much the practice.
I recorded some terrible songs that I hope nobody ever hears. I got some friends that still have the CDs, and they're always like, "Yeah, man, like I got your first CD," and I'm like, "Yo, burn it, fam! Like get rid of it.
Don't listen."
But yeah, we recorded, like GarageBand, like on the actual mic that was on the laptop.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yelling that shit.
Yeah, it was like when GarageBand like first came on the Mac, and like so we did that. I made like a little tape. I called it the first of many mixtape, and it was just like me harshly, rawly rapping on like just like beats whatever from like Cassidy and like it was just like raw beats at the time, like no mixing at all. It was just like a recording, and then just like, all right, that's it. I'm gonna bounce it down. I'm gonna burn it, and I'm gonna hand these CDs out, and I'm gonna be on.
See what happens.
Yeah, I'm about to get famous out here. So there was some definite recording going on. Probably shouldn't have been, but there definitely was some.
And so so what do you think? Because I think it's coming back. I feel like in the mixtape era, in the like 2003 to like 2000, and people still do it. 2010 was like a huge time when rappers would really jack for beats and really rap over other people's beats and like put out a whole mixtape, 10 songs of them just rapping over beats they found or popular or hits or whatever, and like not necessarily remixing it, but just doing it,
doing their thing to it.
I feel like on it. I feel like that was big, and it was gone for a minute, and I feel like people were doing it a lot more.
Yeah,
I think the ladies actually started doing it a lot, and it started like catching fire again, and now everyone's doing it again. And what do you think? Do you think it's, since you're a writer, do you think it's a different approach to rap over someone else's beat in comparison to, obviously it's someone else's beat unless you made it, but an established song, or just something you searched for on the internet and now it's your beat? Do you think it's like do you come at the beat differently if it's someone else's already and it's a Toussaint remix?
If I do the remix, I want to do, when I do a remix, I want to do two things.
Like, and then just the name drop, like you did the DMX one,
yes,
the 24K Golden one, which I'm still on the fence about his music. I don't know if I like it or not. The Cardi B, is like a the Baby one. There's probably more that I missed.
That's it. I think I got a futuristic one, the Baby. I did the WAP remix.
Yeah.
And I actually got another one on the way. We did a video for very recently it's a Tech 9 remix.
Tech 9, yeah.
So for me, I want to do two things whenever I do a remix, and one I got from a mentor, and then one was just kind of like how I naturally would always approach it, and I think it's how everybody kind of approaches it. One, I want to pay homage. Always, I want to do something to where it's like I'm aware that this is not my song.
Yeah.
You know, I wanna make people aware that, and I want to do it justice. You know, I'm gonna pay homage, but I'm gonna do it justice. So like,
yeah,
for
you don't want to
instance,
just spit some garbage shit.
Yeah.
But you know it's the on the baby beat, so people might click it. Just be like, well,
yeah, and
I like the beat.
And so so like with DMX, for instance, it was like I did the same intro as like what he did. It was kind of, and that was like, it was a subtle way of paying homage because I'm a huge X fan. I mean, I cried when DMX died. Like, I was upset.
Yeah, that sucks.
And so it was
Darkman X.
Yeah, he was the man. And so it was like, okay, well, I'm gonna do something real subtle, and I'm gonna just like do things that he would do in his intro. So kind of like, you know, doing the barking, growling, and this what you hear, you know what I mean, like doing stuff like that, and like who we be, you know what I mean. So it was like I wanted to definitely pay homage, but what an old mentor had taught me about remixing is great, but you have to make the song yours. That is always your goal, because at the end of all of it, if you don't make the song yours, they're just gonna go click over to the other one. That's why we loved Wayne so much, because every time Wayne touched a track, it was almost like, yo, this is a Wayne track now.
Yeah,
like, this is,
like he was on fire for like a long time.
Yeah, this is a Wayne beat now. So that's why, and that's why we loved it. So those are always my approaches when I go to a remix. Is okay, how can I pay homage with this, and how can I make it mine? You know, how can I make it to where it's like, I like the original, but like Toussaint did this one thing that I really, really liked. Yeah. And I want to hear that version of it right now. You know what I mean?
And then, okay, so that's how you do when you go on someone else's beat, and then now more of an original song. Like, how do you come at that?
You know,
when you're writing,
I let the beat speak. It's a thing where like I never know what I'm gonna do to a record at all. I listen to the beat, and I find a sound. I mean, like I'll find a hum or a tone or something that I really like about it. And I'm picky with beats. Like you can ask any. I'm picky with everything. I'm real meticulous. It's like I annoy a lot of people, I think. But when I pick a beat, it's something where like something about the frequency. I know that I want it. It's like, it's not a question. It's not I could flow on this, or, I could do something with this. It's like, no, I want that. Like, I'll kill this. Like, I know it. I can feel I feel it in my chest. Like, it's like there's a burst of energy that I feel. And if I hear that in the beat, I'm like, I need that beat. Yeah. I want that beat. But like, if I don't get that, I've gotten to the point now where I'm like, I don't pretend that I'm going to sound dope on everything. I know I can rap on everything. I'm aware of that. But there's a difference between being able to rap on everything and being able to sound dope on everything. Yeah. There's certain times where you don't sound good on the song. You just don't. You could have the coolest concept, and you could have wrote the hardest bars and everything, but something about the way you execute it isn't good. Really it doesn't fit. And that's why you have songwriters. Songwriters, that's a lot of what they do. They write songs. They don't perform them. Perform them in the same caliber that, you know, if you could get it to a bigger artist, can you know, like look at Drake and Quentin Miller, Quentin Miller, yeah. I mean, I've heard Quentin's stuff. He bars out. He's a great writer. He's a great rapper.
He's actually one of my favorite rappers.
Yeah, if honestly, like, if you like anything from Drake back in, you know, the 2000 era when he was first coming out, you were a fan of him.
He was a part of that.
Yeah, we're all a little bit of a big fan of his at this point. Yeah. Like, you know, like that's the fact of it. But I mean, he doesn't execute the way that Drake does, and that's the difference. You know, and people obviously, music is subjective, and people get their feelings about certain stuff. But it's like, I tell people all the time, I'm a huge Kendrick Lamar fan. I love Kendrick. Yeah, I think he's amazing. Lyrically, I think Ab Soul eats harder than Kendrick. I think when it comes to lyrics, Ab Soul is a much more the way the dude's brain works, the way that he writes is just like, lyrically, I don't think Kendrick is matching him, but Kendrick's voice and his delivery take him above that. That's why people talk about Kendrick more than they talk about Ab. I love Ab too, but that's gonna be a huge difference between the two.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I can say out the whole TDE group, even if you, include newer members, the Absol, when you're really breaking it down, that's probably what he's the best at.
Yeah,
like he has that.
Yeah,
and maybe it doesn't have to be by miles or whatever, but I think a lot of people who really listen will probably agree with you.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe, but that's I know that's where I stand. So going back, it's like I know that I don't sound good on everything. I don't pretend to try to sound good on everything.
Yeah.
I'm going to sound good on what I know I'm going to sound good on. And for me, it's I hear the beat and I say, it's this one. I can formulate my voice to like match with this one in a way that it's going to be unique. It's going to stand out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be something different. So that's how I try to approach any original music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool. I actually research people and listen to their music and stuff before I interview them, and like, I think you have like we have like more than one flow, so that's got to be an advantage, right? Like you could switch your flow up and shit.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I hear rappers that it's one flow.
Yeah.
It's one flow, like the
Baby when he first came out.
like the Baby, and still kind of like obviously he's gotten better, but yeah, it's like that's his sound. He's kind of pop,
Mm-hmm.
Or plenty of guys like that. That's a good example. But what I found that is common in a lot of your songs is that you have like humor. Like you're rapping for sure, but like you have like some bars that like I'm like, oh, it's kind of funny though, like do you think you do that on purpose, or you think that just kind of comes out just through your writing process, or do you make it a point where like, hey, like I'm trying to like kind of make you laugh and be serious, but like I got 2 bars for you to be like, it's okay, it's a rap, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't say that I plan it ever. It's like, cause I never use a pen and a pad anymore.
Right.
I do the whole like
I respect
thing.
that. I respect the pen and the pad, but that's a lot nowadays.
I respect it. I love it. The issue for me is I get too linear, so I'll do the same thing over and over, and then when I record it, I'll have used the same exact flow all the way through a verse, and it's like it's boring. It's like this got played out like 3 bars in. You know what I mean?
Sick of it already.
Yeah, so I figured out when I freestyled. I actually found this out at a party. I was at a party. I was freestyling, and a buddy of mine came up, and he was like, "Yo, man, like, I hope this doesn't come off as rude, but like, when you freestyle, I fuck with it, but your music is not that." And I was like, "Oh, like," I was like, "Okay, well, let me
Thanks, man."
Yeah, I was like, but and I appreciate it, like, thank you for being honest, You don't want yes men around you all the time, but I started thinking about it. I was like, well, why is that? Like, what's the difference? And I realized, like, when I freestyle, I get bored with the rhyme scheme, so I'll switch it up as soon as I get bored. So I started training myself. I was like, okay, well, I was like, well, Jay-Z freestyles his raps and Wayne freestyles his raps, so I can do it too. You know what I mean? That was my thought. Is if they can do it, I can do it. And I didn't do it when I first started doing it. I didn't do it the way they did it, because they'll record a few bars and then like stop recording, right? And then they'll think a little bit more.
Like, oh, let me do this.
Yeah, they'll punch back in. The way I did it, I used to write everything when I drove. I would drive around and I'd come up with the first line, and I'd say the first line over and over and over and over until I got the second line, third line, fourth line, and I would write the song like that. It was just like, that's how I wrote all of the Common Touch. That's how I wrote IBOH. That's how I wrote Mustard Cherry. Pretty much everything that I've written, that's how I've written for the most part. Now I have my own studio, so I do it more like Wayne and Jay. And now when I'm in that process, I actually do it so fast that I need to write it down, because I can't.
Yeah, you're like,
I'm like, oh, that bar's hard. That bar's hard. I can't store it all. I gotta put it all down. But I still, as I write it, I still try to do it in that fashion, because it keeps it fun, and it keeps it that elements of like, oh, I gotta switch this. It's more of a feel than it is just like, oh, I'm gonna put this on paper. And then, so yeah, when I'm sorry, totally lost track of the question.
No, well, you explained the difference between when you're rapping on someone else's beat and then writing a beat and why you don't use pen and paper. And then that guy at the party gave you a crucial review.
Yeah,
That's why we got into your freestyling.
Yeah, so that's
he just walked up to you.
Yeah, so that's
you're
how
playing beer pong and shit. He's like, hold on, wait, time out.
Well, yeah, we were all free. It was a party, so we were all drunk freestyling. You know, I was that dude at the party. And
do you still get? Well, not the annoying dude. If you set it off, it's all good.
Yeah,
because the difference.
I've been both. I've been both for sure.
Yeah, just like yo, and they got it's got the phone, got the beat playing. It's like, listen to this. There's music on the background already. I'm like, yo, what's this dude doing? Yeah, bro?
I've definitely been both. It's one way is definitely a better way to be.
Yo, yeah, man, it's a fun time. Do you still have a chance to go out maybe when you're rubbing shoulders or doing shows or going to someone else's shows? Do they because you're more of in a lyrical space, compared to it's like a lot of gimmicky stuff and pop stuff that I do enjoy.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna tell you where you're at, but from a listening aspect, when I listen to your music, you're more in like actual. It's more of more substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you still get to go out and do the freestyles like kick off still? Because sometimes I have trouble finding it, and I get really disappointed. I'm like, damn, man, like no one's gonna rap. Like it's not that big a deal. Y'all say stupid shit on your real songs, so why would you care if we're all drinking? Y'all say the dumbest shit, so why would it matter? Like, what happened?
You know what? I would like to a lot. I would love to find the atmosphere, and I have done it. Like, there's been events that I've gone to where it's like it's like a freestyle event, yeah, stuff like that.
Yeah, like what was the Colorado? I watched you do. It was you and 3 other guys, I think. Fuck, Culture CO freestyle.
Yeah, but that was planned.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I thought that's
yeah.
what you meant. Like,
no. That wasn't. That was planned. Like we got. It was a 2022 freestyle. You know what I mean? How?
Yeah.
It was like that. But like real deal, like freestyling. Like we're going. Off the top of the head, just like in there, put a beat on. I've only had. If I'm not by myself, because I still throw a beat on by myself and do something. Just to practice.
Yeah. Well, you're picky, so now you got your own studio. You record all your own shit, and probably like
but
control it.
I'm a control freak.
Yes.
No, but now it's like I've probably been to one actual freestyle event in the last like 6 years.
Yeah,
probably. And
it sounds about right.
And it's just people. People don't want to look like idiots. People get the perception of an artist, like they become the perception of a rapper way before they are actually good at it.
Yeah,
and so it's an insecurity thing. Like you don't want to end up like making even decent music, and then you go to freestyle and like you have that Iggy Azalea moment where like they're like, "Yo, what the fuck is that? This shit is trash," And I can't say I'm above it at all. Like I would think twice. Like if you were like, yo, you want to freestyle on my show right now? I'd be like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. But I also have a thing too.
Push you to do it and shit. Beat just comes on. They're like, oh, here we go.
But I have a thing too where I'm like, a lot of the time when people, I hate it when I'm at a party and somebody's like, yo, you rap freestyle, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, nah, go. Yeah, I'm like, nah, go listen to my album. Like, go stream my music. Don't ask me to freestyle.
You gotta tell them to make a beat. Like make a beat.
That's a good one, yeah.
So, and if they do it, be like, all right, I guess you call my bluff. I guess I gotta rap now.
Yeah, break out the MPC.
I would with their mouth.
I would still do it. I think, like if the circumstance was right. I mean, if the vibe was right and everything, because normally it comes off as like challenging. Like, oh, you rap? Like, spit some. You know what I mean? I'm like, nigga, I'm not your monkey. Like,
I'm okay.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go. I spit a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Go listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music. You know. But
personally, I'm also not that good if someone just says like make a joke. I'm like, I ain't got jokes on deck, dog. It's just like happened.
Knock knock. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Like what am I gonna do with that? So, but if somebody's cool and like I'm vibing and stuff, and they're like, yo, like, could you spit some? I'll be like, yeah, I'll spit some. Right. Like it's cool. Like we're having a good time. Like I'll spit some because I know that's also a potential listener. If I do a good job, or even if I do it in that circumstance, they'll probably go listen. But if you're like being
fan for life for real,
yeah. But if you're like being a dickhead, it's like I don't gotta impress you. I don't gotta do nothing to you. Also, I remember your question. It was the humor question, and to answer it in full. I do not plan it, but generally I come across a bar that just makes me laugh, man. Like I say something and I'll be like, oh, that's hard. You know, like that's funny. And I always want to do something to where it's like I want to be clever. You know what I mean? Like my favorite artists are always clever. Like they just say certain stuff that's like, and they'll do it with like a flow that's like just like Biggie. Like Biggie was such a clever writer. You know what I mean? Like just the thing, and he had his flow was like crazy. So you know what I mean? Like my favorite is BIGPOPPA, no info for the DEA. You know what I mean? It was like that's clever. You mean you broke down, you went alphabetical. And because DEA is already out, you don't call it DEA. You mean it's already alphabetical, so you do that. You did it with a dope flow. You had a cool bounce. So it's like I've always loved just like clever bars, something that like you might not catch it first, but then you catch it later, and you're like, oh, that's funny. Yeah. Like, oh, I like that. Like that's slick. It's smooth. So that I wouldn't say I try to do that, but I just kind of when I find it, I definitely throw it in and. I think the more that I do it, the more it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when, it was also good to look you up and see that you worked with some other artists and got some cool features with like I think I saw the Supersonics.
Yes.
And like Mob Doctor.
Yep.
And the other people I can name drop too. Do you just run into these people within the community around here, or are these people that found you on the internet and you just kind of like linked like that over the web?
A lot of my links definitely happen on the internet. Mob Doctor was that was a competition. So he did he did a competition where he was it was like the best artist got $500, got to get on the song. Like he did a whole it was like an open verse challenge thing basically. So that's how that one came about. Yeah. And I think Vivid Scientific, the other dude on that song, he actually was the winner, but I got like the runner up package.
Yeah.
So that's how that one came about. And I actually got to work with one of my favorite videographers in the city for the first time from that, which is Jeremy Pave. Shout out Jeremy Pave. And shout out my regular videographer, Sean Asakura.
Yeah, that's actually in my notes here. I was gonna say your videos are always shot really well.
Thank you.
Even the last one, which you just dropped, right?
Yeah,
Permission to Die.
Yep.
Even though I think that was like in a hotel, right?
Yeah,
there's a pool shot, hallway shot, hotel room shot where you're sitting down, a couple other ones, and and that doesn't make a video bad at all or make it plain, but like you can do that good or you can do it bad.
Exactly.
And yours looked good.
Thank you. Yeah. Sean killed that.
So is that do you think maybe that has something to do with like your controlling aspect of it? Because I know so many people, like I've managed artists and stuff, and they'll have these shitty videos that before I even get to them, and they're like, yeah, what do you think? I'm like, this video's shitty. Like you didn't watch that and see yourself. It was like, that's ass. And like not because of you, because of maybe the editing too.
Yeah.
Like you saw that, you didn't get mad. You know, I've had to convince artists to not, or to get their money back, or to get it reshot or something, or re-edited. I'm like, this is bad. Like this. How is the song like way better than the video? You know? Like it makes the whole thing sound like shit, dude. Like,
it skews the perception of it all. You know, it messes with it. No, with that one. So me and Sean, we've been shooting. He shot every single one of my videos except for I think like 2.
Yeah. Did he do the was it Venetian
sweater weather?
Sweater weather, yeah. Did he do that one?
Yep, he did that one too.
Yeah, that was a cool one too.
So me and him, we clicked up when I did Half Breed. Was the first time me and him tapped in together, and it's funny. It's funny because when I first met him, I was like, Sean, you and me are gonna be best friends, and he was like, probably not. It's like, I don't think so, and I was like, okay, Sean, and it's just
Keep
been this,
playing, buddy.
Yeah. And it's just been this thing where like me and him just became tight. Like we vibed out. I'm a different artist in terms of like I'm willing to push the bar on certain things. Like I don't really care about certain personas and thought processes.
To stick to some shit. Stay in a box.
Yeah, I'm very like, let's do something crazy, and so when we first did Half Breed, which is like, it's a super aggressive song, super lyrical, super like barred out, you know, you would think that it would be like, the video would match, and really, in ways it did, but like it was kind of in my own ways, you know. We put actually my now wife, she wore the gorilla costume in it, so you know she had a gorilla costume and like danced around and stuff, and then it was like the opening scene, because I'm a huge Will Ferrell fan, so we did it was my first music video, so I didn't know what to do with my hands, was the whole thing, like my hands raise up, you know how Will Ferrell's doing Talladega Nights.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it was one of those things where like I enjoy. I'm big on comedy. Like I enjoy comedy. It's probably one of my favorite genres, if not my favorite genre. Yeah. And it's like if you take things too, there's a balance of how serious to take something. Like I think Drake is a really good example of that. Yeah. I think Drake takes things. Is very funny. Yeah, he does these skits. He'll do his skits and he'll do like his videos that are hilarious. But like you also know he's very serious. Yeah. He's very serious about his craft and what he does, and he makes that very apparent too. Yeah. So I think. You know, that's inspiring to me, and me and Sean just kind of linked because of that. It was like, oh, he's not trying to do the same thing that everybody else is. He might have a similar sound here and there. He might do X, Y, and Z, but like we're always going to try to do something different. I think probably the most generic video we've done is Permission to Die, and it's almost like laughable because we're at a Comfort Inn at the same time. Like it's such an aggressive song. But then it's like, is this dude like rapping this hard in a motel? Like not even like a 5-star like motel. You mean like is that sausage on the ground? It was sausage. It wasn't shit. I thought it was funny. But yeah, so you know, we kind of just mesh in that. Like let's make this interesting and entertaining, and like let's bring some seriousness to it. But let's also bring like something funny and fun about it, because otherwise music videos are boring as shit. Like if you're just walking around with a backpack next to a river or in a park or something, it's like
people in Cleveland to do these videos. There's a lot of abandoned buildings with like graffiti on there. Yeah, and like that's artsy or whatever. But it's kind of like, so you get the song, you're like, yeah, money, hoes, money's and phantoms and hoes, money, hoes, and then you're in an apartment, fucking in a crumbly ass apartment with graffiti in the background with like your Gucci stuff. I'm like, why are you even hanging out? Is that where you get money? You get money, and this is like, yo, meet me in the building, like for this fucking drop off, dog. Like, what is that shit? So it's like. I think that goes back to saying, like, you could do it shitty, you could do it well. Like,
yeah, and it's like, just because you have a low budget doesn't mean you can't like do something funny, like do something creative. Like you can do like that was what Fast Car was. It was like
nature, use whatever. Yeah, you know?
Like Fast Car. I think we hit the whole thing with Fast Car was we were doing a video. It was like a Scream thing. So we were doing a video making fun of what making a music video is like. Yeah. But like also like being serious and making a music video, like it was just ironic. And at one point I was like, yo, I need somebody with like the most beat up car like you've ever seen in your life. Mm-hmm. And the whole bit of it, like we got one, it was bad, like
Toyota, I think it was.
Yeah, and the video doesn't even do it justice. Like we should have done like some behind the scenes so y'all could have seen like the panels of the doors were falling. The front door didn't even shut. Yeah. Like it was beat down. But it, you know, in the video I'm like, yo, like I'm thinking like this whole Drake like you know, started from the bottom when he's walking next to the Phantom or whatever. Yeah. And it was like, okay, yeah, we can do that. And then I'm like, I'm with this beater trying to do it. You know what I mean? And that's the comedy and like what the low budget video life is like, you know? So I guess I never looked at like budget as an excuse to not be creative or do something that would engage people, you know?
Yeah, especially for rap. You don't need that much money. You just gotta be good. You gotta be good, man.
And do something that people engage with, you know?
So have you had any industry moments? And what I mean by industry moments is have you ever been approached by any kind of label? Have you had any meetings? That could even meet someone who knows someone who's signed or whatever, who has some kind of influence that lets you know kind of like what the music game was a little bit. Any moments like that where like you meet somebody and they like do something kind of crazy and you're like, oh my god, or the way they're talking, or maybe you meet someone who's not even close to what their music says or anything like that. A fake email. I got a fake email from Yo Gotti one time. It was like, yo, it's Yo Gotti, man. Like, heard your shit. And like, I didn't put music out for like 6 years. I'm like, how? And he was like, yeah, heard shit, bro, but like everything's spelled wrong and stuff. Like, anything weird, anything like that? Any moments? Any rat beefs?
Oh, well, there's definitely like I had a weird moment. It wasn't with anybody in the industry. Yeah. But I definitely had a moment. I met this kid. I was at some studio and I went to record it. It was like a apartment studio. I mean, it wasn't anything crazy. But this kid was leaving, and who had just recorded with the guy, and the engineer was like, "Yo, like check this dude out. He just dropped this video." And it was right around the time I dropped Sauce, and the kid saw it, and it had like 1,000 views or something. And he was like, "Yo, like this is going up." And he looked at me. He was like, "Yo, you want a rap beef?" And I was like, "Excuse me?" And he was like, "Yeah, man, we could rap beef. It'll be what do you call it? It'd be a clout move." Yeah. And I was like, "No, like okay. I don't think I want to do that." I was like, because to me it's like if you beef with someone, you got a problem with them. Like, you got an issue. I was coming from that mentality and that era of hip hop. So when he said that, I was like, I don't have a problem with you at all. Like, I don't even fucking know you.
He's trying to come up, man. So
he was trying to do a clout move, and now I understand it. I wouldn't do it, and I don't necessarily respect it, but whatever. Yeah. So there was that, but in terms of industry moments, I've had a few, man. I'd like my first ever time performing. Not first ever, it was the second time I ever performed, but it was for a Def Jam showcase. Where you performed for supposed Def Jam A&Rs, and they gave you feedback on your performance and everything. Okay. I don't know how legitimate it was. Like they just kind of like rented out like a lobby and a DoubleTree, and and let people just kind of like rap in front of other artists and stuff. I didn't know the legitimacy of it at the time. I paid like $500 to do it.
You know that shit's janky.
Yeah, I had no idea what I was doing. I think
even if it's real, it's still gonna be janky.
I would say what I've learned about the music industry just from my interactions with people that are in the industry is that the whole industry is janky. Like it's all janky. Like
it's full of drugs and prostitution, and it's all what have you done for me lately?
Yeah, and it's very like it's the curtain, right? Like if you pull back the curtain, it's really just a bunch of dudes in an office trying to like network and get investors and take this money and we're gonna put this behind this TikTok. I mean now it's TikTok, but back then it was like we're gonna put this behind the record, and if it does well, it does well. If it doesn't, we'll act like we don't know these people, and so like you go to like certain shows and stuff that are supposed to be thrown by like with big artists, and it's all over the place. It's not done very well. And granted, my experience is in Colorado, right? So, like, I've yet to be at an LA show. The level of professionalism could be very different. And more than likely is very different.
People are more serious.
I think if we're talking Colorado, there's a very large lack of infrastructure here, which you and I were talking about offline earlier. Yeah. So it could just be that as well. But in terms of industry situations, I've definitely had my fair share. I've done the whole, like, buying a verse and then... Yeah, and then it never comes through. You know what I mean? Like you spend stupid like the Lil Dicky episode. Yeah, with YG. Yeah, I've had that exact scenario occur. You know what I mean? I bought a verse and or you buy a verse from somebody who's like famous or whatever, and then it turns out that like this is just some old ass throwaway that they've sold like. Time again.
Like the Lil Wayne verse, the fucking one was something about a quarterback option.
Yeah,
I heard that verse on 50 songs growing up. I'm like Betty Crocker quarterback option rap again. Like, that shit don't even add up on this song. Like, bought that shit for like a love song. Yeah, nigga. Oh my god. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just like as you continue to go through it, you just start to see more and more how it's like any other business. It's got its holes in it, and it's just not as glamorous until you get to a certain point. Yeah, and then it's probably much more glamorous.
Yeah, depending on how you handle your business.
Yeah.
So, Permission to Die. Is that the first song that is coming off the project? It's not Down to 2, right?
It's not Down to 2, no.
No? Am I off on that one?
No, so not Down to 2. I got mad at Kanye because So traditionally in the music industry, people drop on Fridays. That's like that's the law.
Okay.
Of music, right? Everybody drops on Fridays, and so when Donda 2, so I figured I'd be safe to drop on a Tuesday, and my thought process is like it's similar to, I don't know if you saw an interview with Russ recently when he dropped Chomp 2. No. He talks about how he's like, well, I'm an indie artist, and I realize I'm trying to compete with all these, these industry artists, and I'm dropping the same day as them, and I'm getting killed. I'm getting phased out. Buried. And it's like, if Russ is out here getting buried, if you're an underground artist who like is not putting up those numbers, you're getting killed. Like nobody's checking for you. Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna drop on a Tuesday. I haven't dropped a song in a while. I'm gonna drop this song on a Tuesday. It'll be, and I got my brand. It's 222. That's like my clothing brand. I'm all twos. Like it's my favorite number. I was born April 2nd, 1992. So I was like, it's my day, 2/22/22, I'm gonna drop. Yeah. And then Kanye was like, I'm gonna drop Donda 2 on 2/22/22, and I was like, fuck. Like, I was like,
stole my shit.
I was like, I thought I was in the clear, like nobody in the industry was dropping on a Tuesday, and then Kanye went to drop on 2/22/22. And so my whole marketing plan behind it was like, okay, well, if people are going to be talking about Donda 2, so I study marketing, I study SEO, I do digital marketing, I do all that. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I'm going to benefit off of the SEO of Donda 2 then. You know what I mean? People are looking up Donda 2, people are tweeting Donda 2, people are TikToking about Donda 2. So I'm going to do a whole not Donda 2 thing, and that's how I'm going to correlate all of what I'm pushing out to people. So if you saw the first video, it said not Donda 2, and then you saw the next video and you didn't know that they connected, once you saw it said not Donda 2, you'd be like, oh, I think this is the same thing as this other video I saw. Yeah. And then so on and so forth, playing with this whole not Donda 2 thing. So I think it might have backfired, because I've had a couple people ask about a project, and I do not have a project.
Yeah, I thought you were about to name like on the Young Thug like barter share. I thought you were about to be like, no. I would respect it. I'd be like, if you want.
I should. You know what?
It's a good idea though.
I should somehow get all the beats
out there.
I should somehow get all the beats on Donda 2 and just do a whole remix tape and call it not Donda 2. Get a stem player and just like record the beats and do it that way. But no, I'm working on a project. Yeah. I do kind of have one with Supersonics. We're working on a joint EP, but they're dropping an EP. They're out of Tennessee. They're these cats out of Tennessee that I linked up with. And they're dropping on March 4th. So actually, Permission to Die is the intro on their EP. So it's actually a push for their EP really more cool. So. Yeah, it was a collaboration song. That's really cool. I had done the song, and I was just gonna do it as a single, and then they heard it and they were like, "Yo, like let's put this on the tape." Yeah. And I was like, "Okay," and then once we had it like all done and everything, I was like, "Yo, this is like an interlude or an intro. Like this is like staking a claim. This is a declaration." And they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna throw it on. We're gonna throw it on as the intro." So it's supposed to be the first song on the EP, which drops March 4th.
That's smart, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, so that's where that all was. But as far as the project goes, no, I'm big into I'm real focused on dropping singles.
Just dropping singles,
yeah, and that's
smart.
I mean, that's where the industry I think is at right now. And
well, I mean, even before, it's not like, I know the emphasis on albums were probably a little different since we didn't have so many options and ways and playlists, mixtape, whatever the fuck you want to call it, EP plays, whatever. Now it's kind of like if you just drop an album as like, a local artist or underground artist, now people are looking at you like, who asked for this stuff? Right. And that's like, why did you just like, I got friends who do that, just drop an album. I'm like, bro, you haven't even put music out. Like, you just slap me with an album. Like, I don't want it.
Well, yeah, and the biggest problem is they don't market it at
video,
all. They try to do the kind of the Jay-Z wakes up that morning and drops a tape at midnight, and everybody freaks out and they think it's gonna happen. It's like, you are not that artist, fam. You need to market. I think that's what I push the most to people is like, look, dude, like if you don't, you can have the worst song ever, like absolutely the most terrible shit anybody's ever heard. Yeah. And if you market it well, somebody's gonna like it, and somebody's gonna. That's how
someone could play 12 seconds of that shit on a fucking highlight of someone dunking on somebody off TikTok,
and it'll go.
That was kind of hard though.
Yeah, it'll go up, and usually, like if it's real trash, like they want it, they want to like it.
They're gonna make a joke, like use it as a joke thing. Yeah,
And so, like the concept of like, because there's this like taboo for artists. I feel like in hip hop primarily, where it's like, oh, I'm not gonna put any money towards like advertising and stuff like that. Yeah. And like that's for anybody listening, put your fucking money towards advertising. Like put it like make a good song, make a dope video, and advertise. Yeah. Put your money into advertising. And not just
where you live. I can't stand especially that. Not where I'm gonna take over where I live. Like that never happens, bro. Not until you move.
Not even like don't even worry about where you live. Yeah. Like where you live is irrelevant.
That's like the last place you want to live.
Yeah. Where you live is gonna support you when everybody else does. Yeah. I mean, like I'm very me personally, I'm extremely focused on popularizing myself outside of the country. That's where a lot of my focus is at. There's a balance, obviously. Like you want to be able to do shows in your location, you know. Yeah, of course. The way to do shows, the way to do shows in your location is to have listeners there. But like, there are people, there's billions of people in the world. If your state does not mess with you, go to a different state.
Yeah, it's okay.
And where we're at in the world now, like the way that you can market, I market myself in South Africa. I market myself in, Germany and in the UK and stuff. And when you go to I've only performed out of state in Nebraska, but when you go and perform somewhere else, they love you out there. Yeah. Because you're only there for that night. That's the difference, right? Like your favorite artist, if so and so is coming to town and you're a fan of that artist, you're there for that night. That means you're there. You're buying merch. You're buying a CD. You're trying to meet them. That's the whole point. So like worrying about your hometown's always going to be your hometown. Yeah. That's what it is. It's where you grew up. It's where you have probably the most embarrassing moments of your life. You know what I mean? So like they're not going to look at you as the hometown hero, especially until you leave town. You and shit. Yeah. They're like, oh, that dude. Like, yeah. You have to leave town to become the hometown hero. That's just what it is. If you really want to blow up in your hometown, leave. Yeah. Go somewhere else. Yeah. And always remember, too, it's like people talk about, like, oh, well, when I'm an international artist, every international artist is local somewhere. Yeah. Kendrick is a local California artist. Yep. You know what I mean? But Kendrick went international, he blew up, and the infrastructure in California is completely different business-wise. Totally. And that's what artists need to understand, too. If you're an underground artist, you don't have the management systems, you don't have the agents, you don't have the PR, you don't have the marketers, you don't have any of that. You need to build that or become it. Those are your options. Yeah. Build it or become it. Yeah. But yeah, I can't do the whole I'm just gonna blow up in my state. I'm like I love Colorado. I grew up out here. It's a great place. But like if they don't fuck with me in Colorado, they're gonna fuck with me somewhere else. Yep. You know? And that's a huge philosophy that I encourage every artist to understand and one that I've developed. So
what can you tell me about IBOH Entertainment? What does it stand for?
I'll be over here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so
I was gonna guess. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, no, it stands for I'll be over here. It is a testament to me being the person that I am, and the type of artist that I am. I've never like fit in, but I've always been able to fit in, if that makes sense. So
I know what you mean.
I hung out with all types of groups of people. You know, gangsters. Like I've met like real deal like dangerous people. Yeah, you know what I mean? And been in the same area and chopped it up with them and had a great time. You know, kicked it with jocks, kicked it with preps, kicked it with druggies, kicked it with hippies. I mean, I've met a lot of different types of people, and I've never felt like I fully fit in, but I've always felt like there are parts of me that adapted, and there are parts of me that could be in that group for a period of time. You know, not an elongated one, but a period of time. And I've always been told that I'm just different. Like I'm different. I'm unique. I stand out in certain ways. The usual one is it's not bad, it's just different, you know. And when I so I was with a crew. It was called 12 Blocks, and when that dispersed, I had made the IBOH mixtape, or EP, and my goal was to break the crabs in a bucket mentality, and to just kind of say like, hey, like y'all can do whatever you want to do, but like I want to be myself, and I'll be over here. I had tried conforming. I tried, being a certain way, and while parts of it were true to me, it wasn't fully true to me, and I didn't like that. And it didn't feel right. It took the fun out of doing music. It took the love out of doing music. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna be myself. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be myself, and I'm gonna talk about the things I want to talk about and do things the way that I want to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'll be over here.
Yeah.
And it was around the time that Alessia Cara dropped "I'll Be Over Here," and I liked the song a lot. I related to it, and I was like, you know what? I'll be over here. Like, yeah, that's my thing. Like, that's what I'm gonna do. And from then on, I did the IBOH EP, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna call my entertainment company IBOH, and I want to keep that energy in it. And I didn't want it to be like an ostracized thing. Like, it's not like I'll be over here and you can't join me. It's like a, hey, I'll be over here. If you want to kick it, more than willing to. I'm down to interact. I'm down to meet people.
Yep.
It's a part of the industry. I'm not trying to cut myself off from people, but I'm gonna do my own thing, and I don't really care what you have to say about it. I'm not gonna worry about it. If you close a door on me, I'm gonna open a different door.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna figure it out. And when I was trying to conform, I was like, people would look at me a certain way and be like, "No, I don't like that. I don't like you. Like, I don't fuck with that. Whatever it may be." Like, I would try to talk to bloggers or whatever, and I get shit on a lot. But once I figured out, once I started making my own lane and doing my own thing, that was when they were like, maybe I'm misjudged, maybe I'm miscalculated. Like, let's get lunch, let's hang out, like, let's get coffee. I started getting shout outs in places and things like that. So it's kind of like almost a testament to the whole Colorado go elsewhere in the world thing. It's like, do your own thing and find the people that will naturally fuck with you, and the people who don't necessarily want to fuck with you up front are gonna respect it. Ultimately, they're gonna say, you know what, like, you did your own thing. You broke the mold. You went outside of the box that I was trying to put you in. I respect that. People like that. So so that's what IBOH started as, and now it's like, it's kind of like what's your IBOH? Like, you got a friend that's like telling you that you got to be a certain way, and it's like, you know what? Like, I'll be over here. It's more of like a growth thing, if anything. Like, it hurts to grow. Like, growing sucks as an individual. If you're doing any sort of introspective growth, physical growth, like exercising, just anything like that, it's a rough time. So it's kind of like a comfort to know, like, hey, you know what? Like, I'm confident that I'm doing the right thing for me. And so I'll be over here. I still love you, but maybe I can't fuck with you. Whatever it might be, that's what IBOH embodies now, and is supposed to project to people. Is just be yourself and do what feels right to you. Unless you're like murdering and raping people, then don't.
Please don't.
Then do what other people say.
Yeah, then conform to being nice.
Then conform.
Nice, So before we get out of here, okay, who are just, and this is not top 5, just give me 5 of your favorite rappers or musicians. It could be, because you like other music too. So five musicians, 5 groups, whatever you could not live without.
Could not live without.
5.
Okay. Andre 3000.
Nice.
Kendrick Lamar.
Nice.
Days and Days, which is a gutter punk band.
Days and Days, cool.
I love Days and Days. Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
Yeah, they're an alternative band.
All right.
Very different. They're awesome.
Okay.
Dang, the fifth one.
Joe Budden.
Obviously. It's gotta be Joey.
Hurricane Chris.
I found this band recently, but since I can't name them off the top of my head, I don't think it's right for me to call them. I'll go with Kanye.
Kanye.
I'm a huge Kanye fan. I love his energy, and Well, Kanye acts crazy.
Yeah.
When he was supposed to come, he was supposed to come last time to the Pepsi Center. I bought tickets, and I didn't care if he performed or not. I just wanted a rant. Like I wanted to be there live for one of the Kanye rants, and then he didn't. Then he didn't come at all, and I was like, "Oh,
come on,
shit!
Man.
Like, come on, bro." So yeah, I'd go with that as
Kanye.
like a
very cool. And then what are 5 things that? Am I saying it right? Lorenz?
Toussaint.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Toussaint.
no, you're good.
Toussaint. Yeah, we just said like Toussaint Laurent.
Yeah. Toussaint Laurent.
5 things you can't live without. Things that put you in your zone.
5 things I can't live without. My studio. My water bottle.
Staying hydrated.
Does family count? I guess.
Yeah.
I could. Okay. I count my family. I'm gonna put my family
cool.
under one full umbrella.
Yeah, all
so
of them,
wife, kids. Is that 3?
Yes, 3.
Chinese food. Or Oriental food in general. Like I love Japanese food, Chinese food.
Pho.
I love pho.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
I love pho. Last thing I couldn't live without. Movies. I love movies, man.
Nice.
I love watching movies. A little too much actually. I've been on this like not watching TV, not watching movies thing as I'm soaking in information and learning. But yeah, I love movies, man. Casablanca is my favorite movie.
Casablanca?
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah. Well, can you tell me and my millions and billions of fans, tags to find you, where they should go so they can hear whatever you got going on?
Yeah. Well, first, thank you for having me. I appreciate
no problem,
it. And
man.
Millions and billions of fans, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of y'all. I'm Toussaint Lorenz. It's TOUSSAINT. Once you get through the first name, it'll automatically pop up. I promise.
Yeah.
That's on everything. You don't have to Twitter, Instagram, all that. There's no
the real, nothing like that.
None of that. Just Toussaint Lorenz, and then IBOH.net. That's my website. You can find all my music there. Show updates. Join my email list. Merchandise. All of it. So IBOH.net.
And you do music and you help people with marketing if they could do it.
Music,
all that stuff.
Music, marketing, tattoos. You need tattoos? I can help link you up. The whole night, mixing, mastering, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and you mix and master your own stuff, right?
Yeah,
for the most
I do.
part.
Now I do for the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, and it sounds good.
Thank you, man. I'm very proud of it.
Yeah, and we were just kind of using kind of basic equipment. So if he can do that just on that, just imagine when he gets the new setup,
Yeah,
it's gonna sound crazy.
You can make a dope studio for less than $2,000.
Yep.
Easy. Easy peasy, but. Yeah, I can't wait to level up the studio. That's definitely on the to-do list.
Yeah, we're all waiting for it. And thanks for calling. It's TheLowRoad. Once again, make sure you go follow my boy. Leave any kind of comment, okay? He doesn't care if it's fucking negative. You just got to do something.
Yeah, do the negative ones. I don't care.
Thumbs down. Just say something. You know what I'm saying? Because then if you do something, he can he can shit on you.
Exactly.